everybody. Recording from my cell phone. Wait, there we go. Recording from my cell phone. And unlike recording from my laptop, it's a much more limited view, but I wanted to show you something that I do when I am... Wait, I'm about to plug some power in here. When I am watching TV and I don't feel like going to sleep quite yet, but I'm in bed, I add records on FamilySearch when I'm sure that I'm adding the right records and I'm not creating new people and making giant mistakes. So let me show you where I'm at here. I'm working with Marie Teresa Hemberger, and I think she's a relative by marriage. I got kind of far out there, as you know I can do. Let's see what I can find about her relationship. View my relationship. Yeah, there's no relationship there. She married in somewhere, or somebody in her family did. But I'm still taking responsibility for adding as many records and making things as correct as I possibly can. It's partly my compulsive nature. It's partly my feeling of responsibility as a temple and family history consultant for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints when I'm looking at a product that belongs to the church and that is provided for the church and by the church free for the general public. So when you look at this silhouette picture in a circle, that means that there's no photograph for her, or what's called a memory in FamilySearch. But right next to that, you can see that little bright blue icon. That tells me that there's a record there to be examined. Now, records do not add nearly as nicely in FamilySearch as they do in Ancestry. You cannot correct or control the information that's being added, and even in the places where they've made things editable, frankly, I haven't been able to edit them. I have tried and tried, and I can't do it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a record to Marie Teresa Hemberger. And I'm going to give her Social Security death index with the hay. So it pulls up the record, and it does the same kind of idea where it puts the record on the left and it puts the person in your tree on the right. But as you'll see, there's no chance to add a layer of paint, as I like to put it. There's no chance to correct. It's simply what's there. And if there's something in the record that isn't in your tree, it'll add it, but it won't correct what's already there, which is just like a big fat bummer. Okay, so you hit the little paper clip and it shows you what's there. So her name is better in the tree on the right than we have in the record on the left. Her gender is better, and her birth is more complete from prior records that I've added. So now what we've got is we've got a death date, which we didn't have before, and that's good. So I'm hitting the little check mark. Now you see how it does this green thing with the gray fields? That's supposedly so that you can edit them, but when I tap on them, or I do anything, I whack at them, I mean, it doesn't add. It shows that there is a correct form, but it doesn't add it to the event place field. So I know from looking at this, it's Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and I know it's going to be 10 December written full out, but I can't do jack mo about it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add the data itself, and then I'm going to X out of the record review, go backwards, and I'm going to hit on the 3 periods up there, and I'm going to refresh the person. Now once I refresh the person, the new information is there, but I still have to correct it, okay? This is why I don't like using FamilySearch to add records. But it's a good thing to do when you're watching TV, because it's like, well, you know, why not? Now this is through the FamilySearch app, and you have to have a FamilySearch account in order to be able to use it. I've just tapped edit. So what can I do? Bang, I've corrected the format, and add a comma, and it's going to be Montgomery, Pennsylvania. Now I've corrected the formats, and you can see the standard formats are in place. I don't even need to leave a reason. If I did, I would say format. but I'm not even bothering. Now let's see if that gets a little cleaner. All right, now we're a little bit cleaner, but we still have a record for Marie Teresa. She's on the 1930 census. She's a daughter in her parents' home. It's just the three of them. Groovy. They're already in the tree too. So let's hit compare. And again, you'll see what happens. It's not going to carry over any replacement information. It's only going to carry over information that's completely new. And that's my problem, because when we're in Ancestry and adding information from a census record or a birth, marriage, divorce, or death record or anything else, we can actually manipulate the data as we add it. And that's really clean, pretty, and nice. And I would prefer to do that. But that's unfortunately not something that we can do here. So, and see again, I'm tapping on Philadelphia. Nothing. I tap on that. Yeah, it tells me that's right, but I can't make all of this other formatting go away. Okay, fine. So I'm going to add. I'm not going to drive myself crazy. Her name is actually Emily, not Amelia. I don't know why they continued to make this mistake in records. But we've got her immigration date. Now we've got 2 immigration dates from her because there was one in a past census. And here's her 1930 census. And then we've got Marie's 1930 census coming into the picture. We're adding that 1930. And you can see I couldn't change anything else if I tried. All I can do is add that new data. Attach it. Okay, the green means the record has been attached, as does the little icon that shows a piece of paper with the paper clip on it that says, yes, we've been attached. And this will disappear. And here's Marie. Now, for those of you who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Marie's work is available to be done at the temple by anyone because of the 110-year rule. For those of you who aren't LDS, you might not care about this, but when we take our ancestors to the temple to stand in their shoes for proxy baptisms and other work, what we do is we take direct ancestors, regardless of how long ago or how recently they died. But when it comes to ancillaries, they have to have died, or been born more than 110 years ago, because the system assumes that a person doesn't live to be 110 or older. And with a death date in place, so much the better. The green icon indicates that she's ready to go to the temple. And so I could take all of that green stuff, I could take that with me and continue. And then here's the policy that says you can't do famous people. You can't do people from unapproved extraction projects. You absolutely cannot do Jewish Holocaust victims. That was an enormous thing where LDS members were so presumptuous that they were baptizing Jews, which I just think is disgusting. And the church caught up with that and realized that it was disgusting. And persons born within the last 110 years. So the person has to have been deceased for at least a year. You have to be a closest living relative, or you have to gain a permission. So say it were my great uncle, I'd have to get permission from my great uncle's nearest kin in order to be able to do his work. And there's all this policy, there are these places to read, but I can say, yes, that's cool, and I can add her to my reserved family names. I can just as easily unreserve her, and I probably will because she married in. She's part of a family that married into my family. She's not my direct family, and I don't necessarily want to do temple work for her so much as I want her family to join the church and find her and do that for themselves. We consider taking people to the temple to be a great honor and to be a very humbling experience. The problem is that there are a lot of Latter-day Saints who also do this work in order to rack up numbers. And that's a bad thing. That's a misuse of the temple. That's an abuse of discretion and an abuse of privilege. So I frequently reserve people simply so nobody else can do them, And then when their ancestors or their descendants, excuse me, come and say, hey, I want to do that work, I'm like, of course you can. It's your ancestor, all yours. And I transfer it to them. So that's what I have to say about working on your phone using the FamilySearch app to add records. And if you want to see where you go to find those, go to Ancestors with Tasks. And I've got a big fat list because I don't just add my own ancestors. I add ancestors that are ancillaries, people who married into the family. I also add ancestors of people whose trees I'm working on if I have their approval to do so. All of these people with the blue icon next to them, they have records that need to be added to them. The people with the green temple symbol, they're ready to go to the temple. All of these people need to have records added to them in FamilySearch. The gold or yellow means ready to go to the temple, almost need some more information. Lots and lots of people. I've been working the Diamond family pretty heavily because they married into my Ruan family. So there are a lot of diamonds in here. So this is how it goes. This is how you can do the work. You can add records to people. You can decide whether or not the records are true. You can say no to them. It's really pretty cool. So for those of you who are involved in FamilySearch, whether you're members of the church or not, I would strongly advise you, if you're comfortable with the platform and you know what you're doing, and those are big ifs, go for it. Go ahead and use this. Okay? That's my video for the evening. Have a good night. And I think I can make this close. Or maybe not. There we go.